Well. Ben Simmons. Where do we even start with the man, the myth, the brick machine, the legend himself? The number one pick in the 2016 NBA draft, who already has fallen off and has become one of the biggest tragedies the NBA has seen in the last decade. If you are new around here, make sure you consider hitting that subscribe and like button. It would be really appreciated if you do appreciate some of the NBA commentary videos I do and the NBA shorts. Putting in a lot of work, trying to ramp it up for the playoffs, which is coming up soon. So thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get into it. So Ben Simmons went to Montverde Academy for high school and was absolutely dominant. He was better than everybody on the court, and he was recruited highly coming out, and he ended up picking Louisiana State University, and that's where he was going to go play his college ball. So he went there, and he played there from 2015 to 2016. He was only a one-year player there, and he was obviously pretty much the consensus number one pick for the 2016 NBA draft. And he went to the Philadelphia 76ers, who at the time still had picked Joel Embiid third overall in the 2014 draft and had not even seen him play a single game for them. So the Sixers' trust the process was kind of looking shaky at the moment because Ben Simmons was not himself going to even play at all in his rookie season. So Joel Embiid ended up making his debut during Ben Simmons' rookie season, but we weren't going to see them together until at least Simmons' second year, and Embiid had missed the first two himself. So injuries were really a concern at the time, but once we finally saw them on the court together, it was nothing short of explosive and entertaining. Simmons, again, sat his rookie season, and then his first real year, he played 81 games in the 2017-2018 season, where he averaged 15.8 points a game, 8.1 rebounds a game, and 8.2 assists a game, 1.7 steals, and a block. So as a rookie, this is really good. I mean, he's giving you scoring pretty efficiently, 54% from the field. He's giving you rebounding. He is 6'10", so that helps, and he runs point guard. And then 8.2 assists per game. That's really good. That means obviously he was looking good as a playmaker already in the league. And again, this is somebody who was garnering LeBron James comparisons coming out of college, which is insane because that's not really fair to a kid with all those expectations of becoming the next LeBron James. I mean, he's one of the best players of all time. It's almost like when people would compare players to Michael Jordan. That's not just not fair because then they're never going to live up to those expectations. And even if they get somewhat close, it's still never going to be enough. But he ended up winning Rookie of the Year. Philadelphia lost in the playoffs to the Celtics, which a lot of people thought they could have beaten the Celtics because that was a team led by a rookie Jason Tatum, a second-year Jaylen Brown, and kind of an inexperienced team overall. I mean, now they're experienced, but again, this was 5 years ago, to put some context into it. So first year for Ben Simmons, absolute success. Only problem, he did not hit a single three-pointer. And nobody really said anything at the time. It wasn't that big of a deal that he didn't hit a three-pointer. But going into his second season, 2018-2019, he played 79 games. He averaged 16.9 points a game, so his points went up. He averaged 8.8 rebounds, so his rebounding went up. And his assists were 7.7, slightly down, but still really good. 1.4 steals and 0.8 blocks a game. So defensively and offensively, he was giving them a lot to be excited with. This was also a 76ers team that made the Eastern Conference semifinals and lost on the Kawhi Leonard infamous buzzer beater shot. Unfortunately for them, it was so tragic for that team in general. It's unfortunate, but another thing was he did not hit a single three-pointer that year. 0% from three, 2017-2018. And again, he plays point guard. If he didn't play point guard and he played, let's say, power forward or center, and he's one of those guys who just doesn't know how to stretch the floor as a big man, you know, that's understandable, even though kind of in the NBA now you need to be able to stretch the floor no matter what position you play. Still, it wouldn't be as big of a deal, but being that tall, if he was able to shoot, everyone knew that he would be one of the best players in the NBA because if you're that tall, can play defense, can score and rebound the ball while also being able to shoot, that's like a Swiss Army knife right there. You got everything you could ask for. But even though he couldn't shoot, still, Ben Simmons' outlook was really promising. At this point, everybody had him in their top 15, top 20 players, creeping into that top 10 just because of two-way, how good he was on both ends of the court. Now, this is where the 76ers front office really should be criticized, because they traded for Jimmy Butler halfway through the 2018 season. So he came over from Minnesota, and he really became a vocal leader and just an overall clutch player for that team who, I mean, Jimmy was in his prime at the time, you know? So the fact that they chose Tobias Harris, that was a big mistake. They chose Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler to re-sign. Like, if you're asked that question, 10 out of 10 times you're going to take Jimmy Butler over Tobias Harris. Come on. Even current day, that rings true. Of course you're going to take Jimmy Butler. But the one thing that hurts with Ben Simmons is he was never a fit next to Joel Embiid. That is what sucks, because Joel Embiid is so dominant and Ben Simmons was so good, but they really didn't mesh. Like, of course, they made the playoffs every year, but they could never get past the second round. And you would think with two talents like that, they could easily do it. They never were able to do it. But then going into the 2019-2020 season, he ended up hitting his first three-pointer in the NBA. It was such a big deal. Everybody was going crazy. And you know those memes of, like, where he hit a three and then the whole crowd was going crazy?
Hey, they back up. Come on, man. Okay. Let's go home. Let's go home, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go home. Let's go home. Let's go home. Oh, yes, indeed. Okay.
Listen, that made me take the headset off.
Come on, man. Time to go home, man.
Oh, my God.
Let's go home. Let's go home. Yes, indeed. Let's go home. Let's go home. We're getting out of here. Take your jackets off. Let's go home. That's what I'm talking.
Yeah, those were kind of crazy because we were celebrating a NBA player hitting a three-pointer. What they're being paid to do is hit shots, and we were all collectively going ballistic when he hit a singular three-pointer. It's not like he hit 5 in a row like Kyle Korver and went on a heat check. No. He hit a single three-pointer that was wide open. But that season, 57 games played again due to the pandemic season. He averaged 16.4 points a game. He shot 58% from the field, which is his most efficient season of all time. He had 7.8 rebounds and 8 assists a game. So overall, a great season. Didn't really miss a beat. And 2.1 steals a game. That's really important because I do believe he led the league in steals that season or was second. And unfortunately for Philadelphia, their playoff woes would only continue as they did get swept in the first round, 4-0 to Boston. The Celtics have historically, in recent memory, owned the 76ers, not only in the regular season, but the postseason. So this is tough because that is now the third season of having Simmons and Embiid play together, and they have not even made it past the second round, which is tough because you would think with two talents like that at the time, you would at least make the Eastern Conference Finals. But unfortunately for them, it just never happened, and their bad luck just continued. And then the next season, this is the season where it all fell down for Benjamin Simmons. The 2020-2021 pandemic season, first season coming back from the whole thing, he played 58 games. He averaged 14.3 points a game, so his points went down. 56% field goal efficiency, so pretty efficient still. 7.2 rebounds, and then 6.9 assists. 1.6 steals, 0.6 blocks, so his stats across the board went down as they started to integrate players that kind of fit better around Joel Embiid. Embiid needs players that know how to shoot the ball. That's why right now Tyrese Maxey is a great piece, and James Harden. James Harden can shoot the ball. Tyrese Maxey can shoot the ball. They're great complementary pieces to Joel Embiid. But with Ben Simmons not being able to shoot the ball because he doesn't ever take them, and he never really tried to work on mastering his game, again, that fit really hurt. And then this is where it all went downhill. They looked like they were going to beat the Atlanta Hawks in the semifinals. We get to a Game 7, crucial series on the line. A trip to the Eastern Conference Finals to face the Milwaukee Bucks is at stakes. And what does Ben Simmons do? Let me just play the clip for you.
Simmons, they cleared out for him. Back this way in. Spins on Gallinari. Gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault, who makes something out of it and is headed to the line.
Well, but that's when you know that the game is in your head. That's a dunk for Ben Simmons right there. You got to.
So there's 3.5 minutes left in the game. And this dude, in a close, contested game, has a wide open dunk. He's 6'10", pure muscle. He passes it out. He passes it. He's too scared to take a shot in the fourth quarter of a Game 7. They're trusting Ben Simmons, not Embiid. They didn't give the ball to Embiid. They gave it to Ben Simmons. And this dude is too scared, too timid to take a dunk. It's not like they were asking him to hit a three-pointer when he doesn't know how to hit a three-pointer. He simply was just, he shrunk in the moment. NBA superstars have to be able to say, give me the ball, coach, and let me do my thing. I got this. Trust me. If it fails, I am sorry, but at least I gave it my best effort. Those are the guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, the clutch players. You got to have clutch genes if you want to be a superstar. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, all these guys, they've hit a bunch of clutch shots in their career. You have to be that way. And then eventually the Atlanta Hawks did go on to win the game, win the series, and the 76ers for the fourth consecutive year with the Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid trust the process duo were knocked out in either the first or the second round. And this is where a moment of realization came for Sixers fans. Maybe this is just not going to work out. Maybe this whole duo is not going to work out. So, who do we get rid of? Ben Simmons or Embiid? But Joel Embiid pretty clearly proved that he was the better player, and you could build around Embiid. He's more versatile and can play around better players. And he's a better playoff performer than Ben Simmons was. So, it ended up being that Ben Simmons missed the entire 2021-2022 season with a back injury. Now, I'm not saying that's not true, and I'm not saying the mental health issues weren't a real thing. Totally understandable. As an NBA player with all that pressure and you just got humiliated in the NBA playoffs, of course you're going to feel a little upset over that and a little scared to get back on the court. I understand that, but you're a grown man. You need to get back out there, and you're being paid millions of dollars to do so. You know, if you need help with mental health, I understand, playing in Philadelphia and you get scrutiny. Guess what? Joel Embiid faced the same scrutiny. He faced pretty much the same scrutiny, and he didn't face the same type you did because he wasn't scared to dunk the ball, and he didn't pass up a wide open shot that then ultimately cost them a series. I understand that Philly fans can be pretty brutal. They were worse. They were just the same to Markelle Fultz. Do we want to talk about Markelle Fultz? He went number 1 overall over Jason Tatum. Ben Simmons went number 1 over Brandon Ingram, but at least Ben Simmons gave them some productive years. Markelle Fultz never did anything for the Philadelphia 76ers. And mentally, he forgot how to shoot the ball because Philly fans were just brutal on him, and they celebrated him hitting a mid-range jump shot. Ben Simmons, they celebrated for a three-pointer. Mid-range was the bar set for Markelle Fultz. So you cannot use that as an excuse to sit out an entire season. So that happened. During the season, he gets traded to Brooklyn in a James Harden blockbuster deal. So he goes over to Brooklyn, and there's some hope that he might play in the playoffs. The Nets ended up getting swept by the Celtics in the first round. Again, Ben Simmons cannot escape the Celtics. They own him. And then the 2022 offseason comes, and the questions are, is Ben Simmons going to play? What's going on with Ben Simmons? He's making all his money to ride the bench. And then the season finally starts, and Ben Simmons actually is able to play. But this season, abysmal, 6.9 points a game. Efficiency's fine, 56%. He just never takes shots. 6.3 rebounds and 6.1 assists a game, 1.3 steals. The rebounds and assists really aren't an issue, 6 and 6. Not really going to complain about that. It's the points. 6.9 points a game with that big of a contract. You're getting paid to score the ball. You're a point guard. You need to know how to score the ball. And again, he hasn't made a single three-pointer this season. I don't even know if he's attempted one, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't. And he's just been he's been a liability for the Brooklyn Nets. He doesn't get many minutes. He comes off the bench because Dinwiddie's a better player. You wouldn't start him over Dinwiddie in 2023, unfortunately. So this is just really sad to see for Ben Simmons. This is somebody who 4 or 5 years ago I really thought was going to be a top 5 player one day, and he's thrown away all his potential. He's thrown it all away because he's just not dedicated to being the best version of himself. Like, boil it down to one thing, that's what it is. He never wanted to dedicate himself to being the best version of Ben Simmons. He was too scared. He didn't want the responsibility of being the guy who took the last shot. He wanted to defer. He wanted to take it off of his hands and let coach drop a play for somebody else. It's not him. He's too scared. So this is the wasted career and potential of Benjamin Simmons. He is probably the most memed player in the NBA right now, which is unfortunate. I do not think if you ask me my honest opinion, he turns 27 in the offseason. We've seen the peak of his career. He's done. He's over. Ben Simmons will never be the same player again. Don't hold out hope. It's never happening. He peaked in his second season with the Sixers at the ripe age of 22. That's unfortunate to hear because usually around this age, you should be entering your prime, not peaking 4 years prior. So if you did enjoy this video about Ben Simmons, make sure you hit that sub and like button. Again, if you want to. I'm not going to force you, of course. You know what I mean? But I'll catch you guys later. Peace.